Thanks everyone for joining us today. I'm here with Green Bay Greg. And I guess now, do you market Green Bay Greg throughout the Green Bay area?
So prior to me launching Dallaire Realty in 2011, Green Bay Greg was kind of like my persona. We still have the domain. A lot of my friends still call me that. We market more as a team now. But I did a lot of YouTube stuff way back in the day, way ahead of the curve on that kind of stuff. Like 2009, 2010, I put out like 500 videos. A lot of me, hey, it's Green Bay Greg. We're out doing things in Green Bay. Those kind of videos, just trying to bring awareness to our local area. But Green Bay Greg's more of a, it works really good in the real estate industry. So when people think Green Bay, they think Green Bay Greg. So.
Right on. Well, so I guess you'll accept referrals from anybody here from the RE Technology group that's on the call today. Just call Green Bay Greg. Now you run your team like you're a brokerage, but you run it like a team, right?
Yeah, great question. So no one on our team is on their own island. Everyone's kind of going through the principles that we have, put in place here. And it's a big part of our success because we've been able to be consistent for a long period of time, and you'll actually kind of see some of that progression. A lot of people talk, and I think our industry could use some transparency on actual, tracking and data. And I'm really big on knowing my numbers. Prepared some stuff today just to kind of give you some insight, into our team. We have 12 agents now. Last year we had 10. We have 3 full-time support staff. That doesn't do just unique things for me. Everyone kind of gets the same treatment. I wanted not to get preferential treatment as the owner of the company, but I wanted to, build a team that gets the resources that they deserve. And we really believe in supporting agents on doing the things that they won't necessarily be consistent on. We think that's where a lot of the magic and the exponential growth that we've kind of had year over year for a long time. And in 2014, we made so we started Dallaire Realty in 2011. In 2014, made one of the best decisions in my life. And I'm a very frugal person, and I'm always trying to not make mistakes. I'm not afraid of failing, but I try to talk to a lot of people about what's really working. And I knew I was always been tech. I had my own website. I was in, doing blogging and things of that nature. And then I knew that I had somebody joining the team that I needed to have some more opportunities for. And I was like, it's time we invest in a Ferrari instead of driving a Chevy. And in 2014, we made the decision to switch over to BoomTown. And I really stopped focusing on, the website stuff and really focused on having quality conversations, understanding, converting opportunities into closings. And so one of the best decisions I made for my business in 2014 was to have BoomTown be my CRM and my website. And today we're going to give you a live look. This isn't just a pitch for BoomTown. It's more of a real live examples of what can be done. This can be done with any CRM. It doesn't have to be BoomTown. It's just when you see some of the exponential growth that we've had over the years, people always ask like, well, what's part of it? And the consistency of using BoomTown for a long period of time, no matter which CRM you use, if you use it consistently and try to maximize all of the pieces of it, I think that's where a lot of the magic comes from. Everybody's looking for a magic pill, and the magic pill is consistency, in my mind.
Yeah, some of the things that we chatted about yesterday in preparation for today was just understanding some of those things. And, I for whatever reason, I believe that many agents believe that purchasing a CRM means that your business is going to grow, and it's not that at all. I mean, CRMs basically are empty vessels. It's like, if you don't have your customer records in there, and those aren't high quality customer records, and you're not using your CRM to systematically engage with those customers with the right information at the right time, like you're really not going to cultivate business from it. In fact, if you're noisy and you have a CRM that's just rattling people, they're just going to block you, right? You've got to be doing the right thing so that you don't lose your customers. Today's webinar, we're going to be talking about turning your database into a data bank. One of the things that Greg and his group has done so well is to really nurture these relationships with large audiences of people. They're supporting each other in leveraging technology to improve their business, but they're also very active in the community. You're going to learn a lot about what his community engagement programs are, and in many, many other things. So today's webinar is really, I mean, you're going to see a fair amount about BoomTown just because that is the database that Greg and his group have turned into a data bank. But really the opportunity here is to see how one of the top practitioners in the United States is leveraging technology across a group of 12 people and just killing it. So Greg, thank you for coming, and let's jump right in.
Yeah, no, excited to be here. One thing to add to that, I think a lot of people get a CRM and they just, and I was a BoomTown peer coach for a couple of years where I helped some of the users in the community. And I really helped stress on them that like building your database and turning it into a data bank is more important, in my opinion, even than like incoming leads. Now that's part of the game and that's part of our stack, but it's not our sole focus. And I think a lot of people start with a CRM, they turn on the leads coming in, or opportunities as we like to call them, and get flooded with those. And then they never get to the point where they actually put their sphere and their past clients even together, because they just get that fire hose. When we started in 2014, I remember it was me and Mike, one of my top guys on our team, you know, we turned on BoomTown, and one of the new guys who was coming wasn't going to come for 30 days. And there was this fire hose of opportunities coming into our pipeline. We were like, oh my gosh. I mean, the best way to learn is to be kind of thrown into that. You know, we're very fortunate. Our team, we're not focused on having the most agents. We're about focused on having the most productive agents that want to be fully supported. Our key number that we focus on is our per agent productivity. And for the last 4 years ranges between 45 and 51 units per agent. Now the national average is 7. Now I don't stand up here without mentioning that if it wasn't for our support team and every individual person in our culture, none of this would be possible. You know, the one thing about this business is there's a lot of people that are egomaniacs and they just want all the credit. And I'm just so grateful to be surrounded by amazing people who've been with me for a long, long period of time. And I actually get more satisfaction out of helping them break through their goals and their limiting beliefs than I do my own personal stuff. So
let's talk about that for just a second, because, you know, there's been so much conversation going on in the industry about, you know, starting a team and building a team. But one of the things that I think stands out with your group, Greg, is that these people that you have surrounding you, these are teammates that have been on your team for 7 years, 8 years, 10 years. Like, can you talk a little bit about the tenure of this group? Because they didn't just come here to like join a group, do less work, make more money. They came here to all support each other and power up their business.
Yeah, I think the industry as a whole, when you look at like your traditional brokerage models, it's really about body count. I mean, even when you talk about evaluating companies and real estate teams, it's all about bodies. And I just really never wanted to be about that. I really wanted to make sure that I genuinely care for my team, and I want to make sure that there's enough opportunities. We're very fortunate to have an abundance of additional opportunities, but I'm not out, you know, I don't have now hiring signs like every other company in America right now. The majority of our team, there's a book called Who by Jeff Smart, kind of talks about the number one way to find people is through your circle of people. So whenever I'm looking for talent, I get really, really granular and specific on what we're looking for. And the majority of our hires are new realtors. And we prefer to get somebody with no experience who has talent than to try to reprogram somebody who's been in a different model. Now, do we have people on our team that have been agents before? Yes, but they were great culture fits. I'm kind of unique to the fact that when we are going to potentially look at bringing somebody in, we have a group interview. I'm not included in that interview. So the first interview with a potential candidate is a group interview. And if the team feels like that they're not a fit for the culture, I respect that decision. And I've heard story after story on people, even on our team, who've been other places and maybe been in a group interview. And then they're like, hey, we see a potential problem here. And what do? They go and hire that person. You know, we've been consistent at a lot of things. Magic Mike on our team, who's been our top salesman for year after year after year.
Which one is Magic Mike? He can't raise his hand. So can you
Magic Mike's on the far right.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's on the far right. Nick, and he's been with me since 2011. Nick Carpio was in 2012, which is one to the left. Behind him is Paul Grawl. I think I have my mouse. Yeah, this is Paul. He's been our closing coordinator. He actually has 17 years of mortgage experience, and he came from the mortgage industry, and he's been with us for almost 7 years. Ben joined us in 2019. Chris joined us in 2021. Joanne joined at the end of 2020, 2019 over here. Andrew Bryson is, it's between 6 and 7 years. Zach, 6 years. Sarah, 7 years. Chris is our inside sales agent. He's been with us for almost 6.5 years in a role that gets high burnout.
Yeah.
And he's earned the right to go out in the field. And I talk, we laugh, me and him laugh about it, but he's earned the right to go in the field. Robbie came to us from a different company. He's been a huge culture fit for us. So he's 2021. And then Jim. And then we also have Tom, who's our listings manager, who's been with us for over 6.5 years. So
Not
yeah,
the first
very
rodeo
fortunate
for
to
any
have,
of these groups. Yeah.
to have a lot of tenure. And but the one thing we've been consistent on that Mike has really pounded in, Mike had a top performing mortgage team in his previous life. And, he knew that some important things to do, like that really get often overlooked, is like business planning. We've been working on business planning since October. We're trying to get everything finalized here coming into the final hour, but we've been consistently doing that. And it's a big part of our success for the team. And it's amazing how many people have hit either their unit goal or their financial goal, like almost on the number. And we talk about, like, you better be careful on that number you write down, because that number, if you align action, the right actions, you're going to hit your goals. And we take that very seriously. I think that's probably part of the tenure. But we're always making sure that there's an abundance of opportunities for our core team. So
That's great.
and I'm not up here to brag about how great we are. I can't really stand people like that. So when I show you these numbers, it's just more validity to, a lot of times people are talking and it's like, especially in our industry, they aren't transparent on it. And it's just they like to brag and et cetera. And I don't want to do that. But 2020, we sold 466 homes with 10 agents, and obviously the 46 sales per agent. But look at 2014, 172. That was when we started with BoomTown, went to 250, 364, 419. And the interesting thing about 2017, when you reflect back on I call it the gains. I always try to look at the positives. In 2017, we started to get in that, like, we need to start recruiting more people. We need to start hiring more people. And we lost our focus on the core business. So you saw us actually decrease agent count by 4, but still sell 358 homes. And then slowly adding back, which I think is really, really cool. This year, so this is 2021. We broke into a new space that we've never been in before. And we're super proud of that. More from a personal side of things. We're not bragging about how we sold so many homes in the marketplace. We call ourselves the silent assassins. We don't need to stroke ourselves on social media and talk about how great we are, because I don't think that's just not our culture, and that's not who we are. But 474 closed transactions, 68 pending. The really cool thing about this is 42%, it was like 221 transactions came from past client or sphere. 42%. Which accounts for a big portion of the revenue that goes into our team. So
that's a number. If you look at the cycle of when people buy and sell homes, I've seen a number from NAR that says 7 years. I've seen a number from NAR that says every 13 years, but consumers tend to move somewhere between every 7 and 13 years. And probably for the purposes of staying connected to your database, that's the cadence that you need to understand. And I think real estate agents make a huge mistake so often by not really understanding where their customer might be in that cycle, or by looking for events that change their lives, which might have an impact on that cycle. So, so much of what you want to do with your CRM is stay connected to your customers so you can listen to them and learn more about their life. And, a lot of these push notifications and things like that go out, although they're important to stay visible, they can sometimes harm you if you're not communicating with your customer when they're in the right phase around real estate. So you really can do a marvelous job of becoming a home ownership consultant versus, just trying to continually pitch your customers on why they should use you as an agent.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And we're always trying to, we call it tweaking the Ferrari. I always tell people, like, the minute we think we have this figured out is the minute we get our butt kicked. And that's not something that I really ever want for our team, because I take that very seriously. Like one of my big whys is to make sure our agents have a fight in the future of real estate in 10 to 15 years. So I'm kind of fanatical about this. I really think that in the future of real estate, to not only run a profitable company, everyone, there's a lot of noise. Like you said, there's a lot of interruption, pokes and prods that can take you away from the core competencies of what is really needed to do in this job. And I get sucked into the vortex. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, I have to, I go through streaks where I delete Facebook off my phone, then I put it back on my phone, but you're right. You hit on something so critical. Like a lot of people, Brandon Brittingham, a good friend of mine, just talked about how important it is to be present. And you really have to digest that down and break it down and think about it. When you're spending time having dinner with the families, are you on your phone? Are you doing all these things? The people that can focus in the future and really, train themselves to be present and continually be held accountable in that department. Like one of the things I'm really big on email, making sure you're unsubscribed from every single thing on the planet Earth. Like our work email is like a war chest. Like I want that to be a place where you're only getting purposeful stuff. Not to get off track on this, but I think it does tie in to the future. There's so many pokes happening. It is just boggles my mind. But I do allow pokes that are money. And I use technology to block out the non-productive pokes. But if there's a sign call or, an opportunity from different sources, I want to be able to be fresh for that. Mm-hmm. We actually had Mike, our top agent. I'll share this, he's probably 15 of our different lead things where he'll get an inbound call. We use another software called Call Action, which manages all of our inbound calls. Love Jesse there. So we know when somebody's calling the yard sign, we know when somebody's coming off of Google, we know when somebody's coming off of Zillow, and it's like a jump ball, where everyone gets it. Mike's our top performer. He has 84 sides right now. We tee up a lot of the opportunities for him. And the fact of the matter is, you look at the answer rates, he wasn't answering a lot of stuff. I transformed his life when we were sitting in an accountability meeting and we talked about, hey, I noticed that you're really not answering these calls. Why don't we just take you off? And for him to it was a crazy amount of, I added up, it was over 200 calls a month. And just think about that. Every time that phone rings is one poke, another ring, another poke, another poke. But yeah, it's crazy. In the future, there's so many companies that are trying to get 35% of your business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the leads that they were
Let's unpack
selling.
that for a little bit, because I want to make sure everybody knows what we're talking about. So, we're real estate is in a vicious cycle, and there are companies, and the leading companies right now that are consuming a third of an agent's commission are Zillow, Realtor.com, HomeLight. Who else?
Fast Expert. We could go on for, there's probably 50 of them.
But there's a lot, and we're gonna see some of those here as we go through what you're doing. But the idea of turning your database into a data bank is that if you build your sphere and you stay connected to these people in the right way, and you're going to learn about how to do that today, because that's what Greg is here to do. You're not going to have to rely upon those entities in order to win back your new customer. You're going to get plenty of referrals from the customers you have, because you're the go-to person. And we all have these go-to people in our lives. If our friends are asking us about anything, I need somebody to do this or that, there's always somebody that we know and respect and trust that they'll go to. And, the number one thing that we talk about in real estate is that real estate agents do such a crappy job of staying in touch with their customer. I mean, I bought a very expensive home here. I haven't heard from my real estate agent in 14 or 15 years.
Think about them.
Yeah.
And the NAR stats was 80% of people would use their past agent. And I think it's like, I don't remember the follow-up to that, but I think it was less than 20% or less than 5% actually do.
And the number one reason they don't is because my agent didn't stay in touch. So can you just orient us a little bit? There's a lot of people that haven't seen BoomTown before. They're looking at this screen for the very first time. So you come in, and Lead Central, is that the landing page you see when you first log into BoomTown, or did you bring it? Oh, you're in a slide, right?
Yeah. So I'm in the slide deck, but we can definitely open it up at some point. So this is the back end of BoomTown. So you have the front end, which is the consumer website and then the consumer app that
Mhm.
BoomTown has as well. Obviously, in all of the activities that they do on the consumer side on either the app or on the actual front-facing website is all tracked into the system. And we'll get into that on a deeper level. But the key thing, we're in Lead Central right here. And on the left sidebar where it says Greg's past clients, this is one click away from a segment that I created. Now, this is kind of all personalized for how we run our system. And there's a lot of different ways to do that. But I will tell you that when I click on this, it's excluding people that are tagged as a duplicate, or if they're renting, or if they've moved out of the area. Because those are kind of the prototypical things that happen with our closings. They either move out of the area, they may either move into an apartment, or sometimes assisted living, whatever it is. But the very first thing that we do when we land on Lead Central, we have all these smart segments. And you can see I've got quite a few different variations of that. And it's one click away. So I can build, and I can get really, really granular. I can say, who has looked at a property in the last day and calculated a mortgage? Who has favorited a property? And I can use that to be proactive. We talk about matchmaking in our company. We've kind of changed the verbiage on how we talk about this, because I really believe that agents need to be more matchmakers, be way more proactive. If you think an e-alert's going to do your job, you're going to be paying 35% to all these different companies in the future. You've got to be in flow, and you're still going to you could be in flow and do a great job, and they're still going to slide into those areas sometimes. And so it's really critical that you provide a lot of value to it. But the BoomTown platform makes it really easy for me to one click. Obviously we've got the category here, so we got them enclosed, and then obviously we have our pending stuff. The other thing is everything's clickable. So I don't have to fully click into this person. I can go here and say, hey, what do we do with Catherine and Jeremy? They actually just referred me a deal. I actually didn't follow my own advice. This was a closing from 2010. Catherine and Jeremy, you can see I don't have anything logged in here, and I'll be transparent because I'm not perfect. I am a power user on this platform, but I still always have room for improvement. But Catherine and Jeremy closing a house with me in 2010. I never had them in my database. A lot of what we teach and the consistencies that we have going forward, our closing manager handles all of this. It's foolproof. They're in the right categories. We've got their address. We'll talk about that in a little bit. My closing coordinator makes sure that is buttoned up because we send out mailers, and it's critical that information is correct. But Catherine and Jeremy, I actually manually entered these people because they weren't in my database. They just sent me a referral, and I have them tagged now because we're starting to move in that direction of really identifying who's our core people who are sending us business. And they refer me a listing that's under contract right now. And we got to reestablish that connection. And I'll tell you, the only reason that she still remembers me is because when I do events, I invited her on Facebook because I'm connected to her on Facebook because we'll talk about events and some of the other things we do. I use that as an opportunity to stay in flow, something to provide value to them, which we'll get into. But
I want to talk a little bit about an observation, and we discussed this a little bit yesterday, but I spoke to Lennox Scott. He has a big brokerage called John L. Scott up in Seattle. I think they're number 2 in the market there. Big city. They're really killing it. But one of the things that he did, which created a breakthrough for his brokerage, is that he hired teams of people to go in and they'll log into an agent's account and they'll do this database segmentation stuff for the agent. They'll help the agent get their customers in there, do the segmentation, and help set it up for them. Are you guys doing anything like that in with your support teams?
That's a phenomenal question. I love that you brought it up. We have an amazing gal named Trini in the Philippines, and I've trained her on setting up manual searches. I've set her up on, posting things on certain things. And over time, I've just given her more and more responsibilities. But our closing manager is in charge of making sure that the closing date, the address is correct. Because like I said, we do a lot of mailers, which we'll definitely touch on more in depth. But yeah, having the support staff around you. If not, you just have to be consistent. You have to hold yourself accountable, or you need to hire a great coach who believes in these principles.
Mhm.
And I'll reference a book later in today's presentation that is by far and away, if I was like had to pick one book that has like a full complete playbook, it's in this presentation later, and I'll dive into it because it connects with the presentation. But
all right, so just getting back on track here, you've got this group, they're past clients, and you focus on them.
yeah, absolutely. A lot of different examples. You know, I can sort by behavior. I can sort when they've been on the website. I can actually, you know, I can go back and say, hey, when, you know, this last visit right here, this is a clickable thing. And I can see who in my past client database is on the site right now. Talk about teeing up a conversation. I always call it playing poker with the cards face up on the table, because that's what it is, in my opinion. Is it necessarily going to lead to a sale? No, but it's giving you the data to be able to have a conversation with them. Maybe it doesn't have to be about that house. It could be about something completely different, or it could just make you realize like, oh shoot, I haven't done a good job of staying in touch with them, if that makes sense.
Well, it is a little transformational. I think when people go to websites, they think that they're interacting with machines, and in some small way, what the types of things that you're doing allows you to make the machine like there's a human here too, you know?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of these plugins that sit in the right-hand corner of your app, you know, of your website, and it allows you to chat with somebody. A lot of people have tried to automate those bots, and, you know, I don't know if you guys are doing anything like that, but I think if there's somebody on your website, it's like them walking into your office and boy, saying hello and welcome. It doesn't seem like such a bad thing.
Yeah. I mean, you're identifying people to have great conversations with, and you realize maybe you are dropping the ball.
Yeah.
And that's probably the best thing you can say. Like Katie and Jeremy, you know, like she messaged me on Facebook with that referral. She probably didn't even, I mean, she could have got my phone number online or whatever, but that's where any of the previous communication was done through. But I dropped the ball. I should have had her in my CRM. I should have been sending her our mailers. I mean, I should have been, you know, emailing her from time to, you know, but
shoulda, woulda, coulda. Well, you got her now. She's never leaving you.
Yeah, she's in the ecosystem. Like she's in the family. Our family of clients, like we take that very seriously. And I believe that that will be what sets us apart in the future and gives us options.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
for those people that are on the call today, listen, if it, you know, you can go to your broker and get a list of all your past transactions, get the contact information of all of them. If you have access to Realist, which I think 800,000 agents across America do, that's the CoreLogic tax system. You can go into the tax system and you can look up those customers, make sure that they're still in the house and get additional information about them and reconnect with them. So if you haven't done a good job, you know, there's ways to tighten that up. So by all means, leverage those tools.
Yeah, and this ties into a perfect thing. One click RPR integration in BoomTown. And if I were to have clicked this on the live thing, this will bring into all of the previous closing history, but also will verify exactly what Victor just mentioned. So it's kind of integrated into here. Obviously, the critical thing is making sure that the address, you know, is correct. So this is the actual lead profile. So this is what you see. And a couple really critical things in my mind. So this is a past client. This was actually, they have it in here as 2021, but this is actually a lot older than that. But they've been on the website 217 times. They've looked at 180 properties. They've been on, this is another one of my past clients who I did not have in the system. If we went into RPR summary right now, this would be before I even had my own company. It was over 10 years ago. But we've been able to get re-engaged with them on a personal level. They actually had me over, you know, they were interested about the value of their house. And I was like, no problem. We do a yearly market review. We're happy to provide that to you and help you understand how much equity you have in your property. And we'll expand on that in a little bit. But yeah, so this is the lead profile. I can text from here. I can email from here. I can log phone calls from here. Down here, I've got certain things set up from a tagging perspective. The critical thing is this blue area. because this is stuff that you can export out to create mailers and, really streamline and automate some of your processes. But we've got the address in here. This is one of, when Paul has a closing, it's his responsibility as a closing manager to make sure that the address information is correct in here, making sure the closing date is on there. We are working on a birthday campaign. We've partnered with a great company where we give custard to our people on a yearly basis.
Custard?
Yeah, custard. It's not ice cream, it's custard. If I said it was ice cream, you'd be pissed at me. So it's definitely all about that. It's all about the custard. If you haven't had it, it's the way to go. But one of the other cool things that we've been very, very consistent on, and you hear me say the C word, which, because that's the magic pill, you just have to actually consistently do things. In BoomTown, when you email people, you actually have the ability to integrate with BombBomb. So I always try to get a little facial recognition. I actually send probably more BombBombs. Yeah, I send them through BoomTown, but I send more BombBombs for email replies than I do for a lot of other things. And I'll tell you, like, side note, there's been a lot of listings that we've gotten where I use BombBomb to like recap, or, sending a BombBomb on the first email, like we'll send information about our company and why we're great, but I'll send a personal video and I'll wave to them, and it separates me from everyone else. And I've been against 5-6 agents, which painful experience for a seller if you're trying to interview 5 or 6 realtors who don't stop talking. But, I was able to stand out in the crowd by using BombBomb and integrating it into our BoomTown platform.
Let's talk about that for just a second.
Yeah.
So when you say integrating, like, you didn't have to do any programming work or anything like that. If you're a BombBomb customer, you just go into BoomTown and they turn it on, and then all of the functionality is there.
Yeah, you just go to the upper right, and there's a thing called integrations. You click on it and you sign in and you're done.
And you do it one time.
And then the great thing is,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, the great thing is on the previous screen where the email button is, you click this, there's a little insert BombBomb here. So you can actually insert one that you've recorded previously, or you can actually just create one right on the spot there. But I want my emails to get opened, and I have analytical data on BombBomb and on the video emails. I mean, I'll text message, I will text message these BombBombs too. I want to make sure they get delivered too. When I get a referral, like, you better believe I'm hopping on the camera phone and, hey, Katie, thank you so much for the referral. It means the world to me, that kind of stuff, get touchy feely, but
that's great.
The other nice thing is, like, I know when people open emails. Like, you can't tell me that. So this is Jason and Sue. This is the example that I showed previously, but we had a fall photo event where we invited people out to, get professional family pictures. This is something we've done for over a decade. When we talk about consistency, do I enjoy setting up these events? Are they a lot of work? Yes. I also can tell you right now, this is not an instant gratification game. And if you try to get business out of it, in my mind, you ruin the magic of it. The events are about your family of clients, but a lot of people will do them and well, Greg, I didn't get anything out of it. Yeah, I did it for a decade, and 42% of our business, over 220 transactions, are from Sphere past client. It's just a way for us to stay top of mind with them. But if you look at Jason and Sue on the right here, they opened this email 12 times. I got the video here too. So they're seeing my face. I don't care if they don't come. No problem on me. Look at this. In July, they opened it 16 times. A little personal message talking about deer hunting. Opened it 3 total times. The analytics are there. And BoomTown makes it really easy. Obviously, there's a lot of other CRMs that can do stuff like this, but for me, BoomTown is easy. It makes sense. I'm super tech savvy. I could run different platforms that may have different things, but I know to run a team of people that I can train over and over again to repeat the activities that matter. BoomTown makes it super easy. And I also love the user interface in the design of it, I want to love where I work. Yeah, I have an office, but really I'm working inside of BoomTown a lot. It's where I live. A lot of my work life is in BoomTown, and I enjoy the design. I enjoy the experience, and it makes sense to me. It's not super complicated. They're kind of like the Apple of real estate CRMs, in my opinion. Like they want to make sure something works before they launch it. They're not just quickly, doing all these things and then messing up their infrastructure, which can be frustrating at times, but also protects the integrity of the system. I'm pretty transparent. So we've been consistent at events for a long period of time. This last event here on the left, we had 524 people show up to that event at a public park. And I just think that's really powerful. And it's not, like I said, you can't do these events with just the intention of getting business.
Let's talk about what you did. So you went to a public park, so you didn't have to get any permit or anything like that. You didn't have to rent a space.
Well, we had to rent the park and the pavilion, and I think it was.
Oh, you did?
It was like
okay.
Yeah.
And then you had photographers come. Are those the photographers that do the real estate photography for you?
No, we actually do that in-house.
Okay.
So our listing manager does.
How many photographers did you have at the event?
So we had 4 people from the photography company. So we've been doing these events for a decade. So we've been using the same photographer for that decade. And he's kind of the guy who does all your home or your senior photos, and he does like the pictures at school. That's kind of who I partnered with a long time ago. And so he brought 3 shooters because we didn't want people to have to wait a long time.
Yeah.
It was really critical that we had a food truck. We actually had 2 food trucks. I would tell you, if you're doing this for the first time, do not have a food truck. When you have 500 people, you may be surprised at what comes at the end of that. We should have just had hot dogs and brats or burgers or something real simple. But you live and you learn, But yeah, over 500 people came to get pictures with their family. Like, think about that. That's pretty cool. Now, is there a lot of work? Thankfully, like I said before, it's not me, it's the team. Everybody banded together. We had people there with, helping set up the stuff. We had people, I was in charge of drinks, loading coolers. Like, everyone gets their hands dirty on our team. Paul does an amazing job coordinating all of this stuff. Like, and it's kind of, we've gotten really good at it because we do it all the time, but it's just part of our business. But
it's great. So in addition to the photo event, come and get your picture taken, what other events do you think are highlights that others might want to think about offering in their business?
So we have Santa Photo Day. That's been something we've done for 13 years now. So even before I launched Dallaire Realty, and we average between 400 to 500 people at that. We also have the best Santa on the planet Earth. Like, our Santa is a retired cop, has the coolest real beard you've ever seen, and just a genuine, phenomenal human being. And really tough to get this guy, but I've got a great relationship, and he knows, like, we're doing it. So that's actually already scheduled. We'll be sending out event invites in the mail here soon. And that's not something we always did before. Like, we didn't always send it in the mail, but I think that the mailbox is a really good place to revisit because people aren't getting as much mail. I think people are paying more attention to their mail. I mean, yeah, you're still going in the trash. Like, don't think you're not. But if you can have a little mind share up here for a little bit, I think it's important. So we've also done movie days. We get some cooperation from, our lenders and our title companies to kind of help out, but we'll rent out a movie theater. Now it's a couple theaters, and we'll pick whatever the best movie is and invite people. And then Paul, who is very involved in the community as well as me, we're looking at, doing something with the Freedom House. It's like a domestic abuse shelter where there's just a lot of people in really bad spots, and inviting them and actually providing transportation for them to come. And we're really trying to increase the philanthropy of these events, because I think our tribe, our family of clients is really, kind of craving that to make a bigger impact, and just the growth of me personally and the team. And I think we're ready to really start making a bigger impact in the community.
I think the overarching theme of that is give to get, and you guys, you do an incredible job, and the results demonstrate that.
We also do a golf event. I'm very passionate about golf. We have, PGA professionals giving lessons on the driving range, and we have a couple PGA professionals on our team that really, band together and donate a lot of their time to make sure that that event is a success. So
amazing. Good job.
Yeah, one of the critical things in my mind is that you need to have what's called seller e-alerts. Seller e-alerts are like a mini CMA. Now you can set those up in a wide variety of programs, but I really want to get my clients coming back to our website. Like when I said about playing poker with the cards face up on the table, I really want them coming back to us and getting almost habitual about it. Because if you're not getting them to come to your website on a monthly basis or every 3 months, they're on Zillow, they're on realtor.com, they're on homes.com, they're on all these different websites. And yeah, they may use those websites and come back to you, but people want the easy button. So you've got to start programming for the future and make sure that your information is coming to them and also branded to you, like it's that mind share that you're trying to get over time. So down here in the bottom right, we've got a market update. Greenville Ranch is sold. So this will actually send them an email with all of the sold, active, and pending properties, depending on your MLS's rules. Ours is thankfully changed their rules on that. But we can send him a really granular, focused report. Now, this just sends them the actual comparables. So almost in real time on a monthly basis, they're getting a look at what's going on. And this is, in my opinion, I turn this on, and my coaching clients, I always train them like, you got to set it up for yourself. You got to see how it feels. Like you got to see how the information, I have one set up on my neighborhood. I mean, I'm instantly in tune with every single house that sells in my neighborhood in real time.
Now you did so explain for me, like you're using it within BoomTown, but you also use a third-party service that does the same thing. Can you explain that?
Well, it's not the same thing. Yeah, we have a third-party program called HomeBot. A lot of people are familiar with that. And if you're not, homebot.ai is a place where it tracks more the value and the equity. And you can actually go in there and tweak and set. And I would highly encourage you to do that because we bulk uploaded a bunch and sometimes the values are off. Some of this stuff takes time, but turning your database into a DataBANK is the most worthwhile thing you can invest your time into. This is stuff that you can do after hours. This is stuff that you can do on the weekends. While you're sitting on the couch watching TV, you can get your database clean. You can start making sure that these people have these e-alerts, because I promise you, if you're not thinking about this kind of stuff in the future, you're going to end up working for a lot less money, I guess is the big thing. And you may not even have the opportunity. So, and I'm not trying to scare anyone. I just think we need to be very transparent with ourselves that this game is changing. It's evolving. And so do we. We need to evolve. We need to get better. We need to not just hire anyone with a pulse. Like we need to make sure we're bringing talented people into the industry. And you may realize like, hey, I want to be a team leader. You may realize, hey, I'm better on a team. You may realize like a lot of the people on our team, like from a net standpoint, if they were to go hire all these 3 people, like the company we've been successful for a long time, but like where it actually makes a lot more sense is you have to get pretty big and you have to build this big machine. And the majority of people never get there. They usually burn all their coins by the time they get there. And then, they have to start over or do something else.
But with this system, you're walking into, you're doing your business planning for 2022 and you're walking into 2022 and saying, hey, I did over 500 trades a year, this group. So we're pretty sure that these numbers are going to predicate that our past customers and referrals are going to give us another 250 trades next year, at least, right?
Yeah, I like that you bring this up because I have a different insight on this. So I used to be the guy that would like, I want everyone to do 60 deals. Like if you're not doing 60 deals, you're a piece of, what? And I've had a big growth in my leadership, in time and leadership. Like it's about the personal goal. So I don't care if it's 30 units or 70 units. I'm going to do anything in my power to make sure that you reach those goals. So the collective of how we establish what we're going to do from a transaction standpoint is based on each individual person's personal goals. And then we'll set our actual goal, and then we'll have a little stretch goal. And that's kind of where we're at. We projected we'd be at 525 to 550. And we're right in the middle of it right at this very moment. But that's also knowing my data from other systems we use like Sisu and making sure I know my numbers. I know what we did the last 3 Decembers. I know what we did in November. So I can look and project and see like what's realistic. But it all ties down to the personal goal and their
You're doing that based on people. Like you're not like listening to Lawrence Yun saying, oh, this is the forecast of the market next year, therefore we should be doing blah, blah, blah. I mean, I'm sure you listen to those things, but I think what you know is that you're in control of your own destiny because of the work that you're doing with your customers and with your team and the focus and the consistency that you're applying to your business. Even if the market doesn't do that well, you're going to be rolling through and just outperforming other realtors in your market because of the effort that you're putting into your success.
Yeah, I mean, it's about the team, the consistency, those outside factors. When I talked about getting into the vortex, these pokes and prods, going on a freaking negative Zillow journey about the iBuyer, like who really gives a shit? I mean, like at the end of the day, yeah, I need to be aware of it. I have a popcorn party to the best people in the nation that are actually in those markets. They're not in my market. I know they could be, but like to like sit and stew and I've caught myself like sitting in that, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And then I look at the gain of like, where have I gone and where have I been able to gain along the way? And you're right. Like, I don't want to be in like a scarcity mindset. I always think about abundance. Doesn't necessarily need to be that we're selling 1,000 homes, or whatever it is. But like, I'm from abundance and I need to kind of deflect myself away from those negative things that can, suck your soul. It happens. However, I'm going to tenaciously prepare for the future like somebody's trying to take it away from me. Do you know what I mean?
And you prepare your team too.
The whole team. Absolutely.
So, I mean, I think that's, I remember, back in 2008, talking to a lot of our brokerage clients and, they were trying to figure out what the heck was going to happen in their business. And I said, hey, even in a down year, you can win. If you're just outpacing your competitors, even if things are going badly for you, if they don't go as badly for you, then that's winning. And that's all you can really desire for the success of the people that are in your organization. How are we doing on slides? Because we have about 10 minutes left. I see a bunch of questions. I don't want to ignore these people. I'll stop interrupting you a little bit. Let's finish this.
You're fine. So on the right side of the screen right here is one of my favorite things about the BoomTown platform. On the right side, we've got what's called the Now Bar. I'm definitely going to pick up the pace. So this is a past client. They're in the closed category. This person's in the past client. This person is going to buy a house soon within the next 12 months. I know it. I've been watching her for a while. Josh and Laura Meyer just got an accepted offer on a short-term rental property. But this is the thing about having e-alerts is like basically pops them up, like we call it tip ups, like, hey, they're curious. They're looking. Now, am I going to be smothering them? No, absolutely not. But I'm going to use that information to try to engage with them. The other thing about this slide that could get often overlooked, right here is a smart segment for monthly closing anniversaries. I'm going to pop to the next slide. So I've been very fortunate to like teach occasionally and speak about technology and real estate. And I had all my friends kind of using some keywords and they never told me where this book came from. And I remember being at a bar in Charleston at the Dewberry with Doug Geek, who works for 8C in Colorado. They sell like 2,500, 2,600 homes a year. And I asked him, like, what is the number one thing you would do to get listings? And he looked at me, he smiled, and he goes, you're not going to believe what I tell you. And I said, really, what's that? And he goes, a yearly market review. So we go back to that slide, close date on up here in the segment this month, all years. These people closed in this month. Talk about an opportunity to reach out, and they don't have to take you up on it, but you can offer a yearly market review. I'll be transparent. This is the one thing that we are going all in on. And have we offered yearly reviews? Absolutely. But have we been absolutely diligent on it? No. And there's opportunity in it. But this book, I mentioned the book before, this is ninja selling. I actually think someday we'll actually write the future of this. And this is how we tech enable this philosophy, so I think we'll do an updated version, me and Magic Mike at some point. We'll have to talk to Larry, the main man, Kendall, the master of ninja selling, but this would be a book. If you haven't read, I would highly recommend that you read this. Don't read it, master it. I mean, Magic Mike's probably listened to it over 100 times. He's an Audible junkie and he listens to it. A lot of people talk about books. It's about mastering books. I'll leave you with that. That is probably the one book. Obviously I love a lot of books, but I think you need to master books. So I don't need 100 books. I need the best 3, and I need to figure out how I can actually implement what is in those books. We talked about monthly closing anniversaries. Yeah, so let's open it up to some questions.
Great. Well, let's see what we got here. Go all the way back to the top. Yvette, what do you do? Marketing? Are you a real estate brokerage? I think we covered that one. My internet.
You get notifications when they're in the website. Absolutely. On the Now Bar, you constantly, not only on the desktop version, on the mobile app for the actual agent, you have what's called insights. You click it and it shows you the same thing you see on the Now Bar. There's a client that we are looking out for them.
Somebody said, what about a broker that's not working anymore? Call your association or your MLS, and they can pull up your transactions by your agent ID from that old broker. So you might be able to do that. That was something I mentioned.
It's a great question.
Yeah.
It's probably when we do talk to people that want to come to us from other companies, it baffles my mind how many times people don't have any clue of where their business was and whatever. And that's where we can give them a massive improvement and other things. Okay, so it looks like we've got somebody asked a question about website with spam. I do have issues with sometimes going into promotional in like the Gmail area. There are occasional times that I have seen it end up in spam, but I'm guessing it's probably based on the actual user marketing it as spam. But that's where I actually get pretty guerrilla. Like I like to actually, when we talk about finding matches for our clients, I'll text them the link to the website so that I know that they get it, but they also feel like I did my job or I'm trying to work for them. So that's how you get past the spam shit. I think that's a problem with all of the stuff. Hold on a second. How does your manager create this database?
The database
it really starts with your sphere of influence. So a brand new person, we want them to have 150 people. Obviously, if we could get more, that'd be great. But a lot of people struggle to get 50. We really want to try to get to 150 people that like them, know them, trust them, that they would invite them to their wedding. That's an opportunity for us. We have this big past client database. We have some of our sphere in there, but we figured out along the journey that like, man, we really should do this with our sphere. So those are the things that we'll be focusing on. It says, are you hiring new agents? We are looking for a greenhorn brand new agent in Appleton, Wisconsin at this time. Other than that, we're always open to talent, but we're not like actively recruiting for anyone. But appreciate the question. What if you're not active in real estate but want to start marketing to be a listing agent? I left the market in 2008. That's a really good question. Obviously, you haven't been in flow with your people from before, so you'd have to like somehow try to find a way to reactivate that. And that's enough time passed where they've probably already made a move. I would try to find the best team in your local area and who is a dominant listing agent who actually kind of like segments out buyer agents, seller agents, and try to see if I could get that. I'm inactive with license. Yeah, it's never too late to refire that up. Any other questions? I know we're running short on it. It looks like we have about 6 minutes.
I think we nailed it. Yeah, you did a great job. Green Bay Greg, thank you so much for coming. I thought we had good questions. I really appreciate you sharing really what's happening in your business. A lot of times when we have these RE Tech and ours, it's, a demo and it's really not talking about real life, how real agents who are working with real customers are focusing in on becoming better and leveraging technology in the best possible way to grow their business. And nobody really does that as well as you guys are doing that, Greg. I know that I think you guys are what, fifth in your market right now in Green Bay in your 12 agents. And
Yeah,
what,
all the ones in front of us have, well, the top two have over 100 agents. The third one has like 60 agents, and then the next closest one has over 40. So,
Oh.
You know,
for the
for us,
fraction of the people, but focused group of people doing their job and doing their job together. I mean, that's one of the most inspired things about you guys is that you do your job together.
yeah,
And
you have to come from, and if it was a learning point for me, because there was a time where I didn't really want to open up the playbook, but I've realized that very few people will actually execute the playbook. And that's part of the magic that we have. I used to have a scarcity mindset that I'd be worried about somebody else, running our playbook. But I've changed my tune on that. I think the real estate industry as a whole could benefit and have more of an abundance mindset. There's a lot of thought leaders out there that are doing some great stuff and actually showing the tangible things on execution. And I'm excited for the future of real estate. And I'm just, I know that if I give Jimmy Burgess in Florida, like that guy inspires me. Like that guy is so about giving, and then you get naturally. You can't be worried about it's the.
did you
the
meet him
universe.
through the BoomTown community?
Yeah, man. That's he's a special guy.
So we should probably end with that. The magic of BoomTown is not only the software they provide, but the community. So when
Yeah,
you're
the relationships
Yeah.
I've established in how many people like Brad Nix in Atlanta, Georgia. Like if I wanted to, it's one of the smartest guys I know. If I called him right now, he'd probably pick up the phone if he was available. And if I said, hey, I'm coming, he'd probably invite me over to his house. But more importantly, that guy is a practitioner of like the highest level. And I've actually done one of these with him in the past, but he'll open up the playbook and really, if you ask him a specific question, he'll actually not just, give you a fluffy answer like a politician. He'll actually show you exactly what you want to see. So
Yeah, no, it's super impressive. Well, thank you. And thank you all for joining us today. It was a wonderful webinar. And Greg, big claps to you. And we'll see you again on a future RE Tech and R. Thanks a lot. I'm really
you
grateful.
guys take care. Bye-bye.
Okay. See ya.